What is up, everyone, and welcome back to Infinity Games for Zelda Month, the great month of the year where we talk about pretty much nothing but Zelda. So, this will be the official opening of Zelda Month 2025, and I have filmed a couple of other videos already, but this is where we're at. So, before we actually get started with the content of today's video, I wanted to talk about Age of Imprisonment. It's on my screen over there at the moment. Originally that was going to be this video, where I play for a bit, and then at the end I was going to try something awesome. I haven't gone for that. I have misplaced my Elgato, so I couldn't go for that. So instead, I think we are going to open on what I was going to do at the end of that video. So, those of you that are more permanent viewers know that at Christmas I go a little hard on the Baileys. And they've come out with a new limited edition flavour this year. Terry's Chocolate Orange Baileys. So, I thought we'd try some, and we'd have some while we watch some preview tapes and stuff. So, pour it into my glass. Not too much for now. So, without further ado, let's get started. That's good stuff. That is brilliant stuff. Right, see you in a moment where we will begin Zelda Month properly. Alright, so first up we got Majora's Mask Toys R Us preview tape. And I've been looking forward to this for 4 years. I was gonna watch this 4 years ago, and I just didn't. So, shall we get started?
All Nintendo video games are rated by the Entertainment Software Ratings Board and carry one of the following age-appropriate ratings.
I'm a Peggy boy myself. Peggy 18.
For additional information on game ratings, visit the ESRB at esrb.com.
I'm too English for this.
Want some great entertainment this holiday?
You can tell that this is either 1999 or 2000. I think it's 2000.
Head on down to Toys R Us. While you're there, you can check out the great new games coming from Nintendo. The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask for the N64 is coming October 26th.
Yeah, it is. So that was only a couple of weeks. That was only just over a week ago. That was the 25th anniversary of the greatest game ever made. I love Majora. I genuinely love it. It is amazing. Let's progress.
Some consider it a sequel to the greatest video game ever.
Yeah. I consider it the greatest game ever.
Others claim that it's much better than the original. Let's talk with the experts at Nintendo.
Being a sequel to the best video game of all time wouldn't be a bad thing within itself, but at the same time, The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask is much more than a sequel. In fact, you could label it as a sequel.
Fun fact, did you know? Majora's Mask was originally conceived as Ura Zelda. It actually came out of the fact that the team didn't want to make Ura Zelda. So, a bet was made, and if they could finish the game within more or less a year, they could make Majora's Mask. Well, Zelda Gaiden, as it was called back then. And Era Zelda would be more or less scrapped. The work that had been done on Era Zelda then went on to become Master Quest. That is the information as we know it.
Then you have to take everything you know about sequels and throw it out the window. When you first start the game, you're riding through the forest on horseback, and then you come across a skull kid. Your horse rears up, and you fall off. And when you're knocked out, the kid actually comes up and takes your ocarina, and he also steals
Yeah, the little bastard.
your horse, and that's kind of what starts it off. You got 72 hours to save the Earth. Link has to unravel the mystery of Majora's Mask within 72 hours, or else the moon will crash into the Earth. And if you can't solve the mystery within 72 hours, game over.
Or,
There's 24 different masks in this game. If you take the Goron mask and you put it on, then you have the ability to turn into a Goron. You actually see
is he just not going to mention the rewind time mechanic?
him go through a transformation, and then he's a Goron, and you're able to do things you weren't normally able to do. You turn into a rolling Goron, and that's the only way to cross some parts of the game. If you get a Zora mask, instead of just kind of swimming on top of the water, you can actually put the Zora mask on, and you have the ability to walk underwater. You can swim extremely fast underwater.
Yep.
And so
Until 3D butchered it. Fuck Majora's Mask 3D. Bad remake. Like, it was a bad remaster.
there's a whole bunch to do under the water. There's entire levels that take place underwater, and the only way you can do that was a Zora mask. And it's pretty graceful to watch him, kind of skim over the surface of the water. One of the things that makes the game really cool is that the whole time the clock is ticking. The moon is getting closer, and you're not going to stop any of that. You have so many things that you have to accomplish to stop this moon from falling. If you mess up even the least little bit on a couple of these things, The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask
I can't remember the last time I actually saw that cutscene in game.
requires the expansion pack to work. This game
Yeah.
uses the expansion pack in a way that a lot of games haven't really used it yet. The bosses are more detailed. They'll have a higher polygon count. One boss...
Honestly, the visuals in this game are really good for an N64 game.
In particular, the jungle boss, one of the first bosses you fight, if you start
Adawa.
beating him, then he calls 6 bugs to his rescue, and so you have that many more things on the screen. We hit him a
This
couple
is
more
true,
times,
actually.
and then he releases about 300
You don't
butterflies
really
in
think
the
it
air
that way these days.
and will attack you. It's really incredible to see all that on screen. Everybody
Yeah, it was technically extremely impressive.
is going to love this game. Miyamoto is known
Miyamoto had fuck all to do with this game.
for redefining the way games are supposed to be played, and this one's no exception.
Yeah, no, mate. This game was a bet that Miyamoto made with his subordinate. Back when I'm not getting into that tonight, but put it this way, Majora 3D and the Wild era of Zelda has changed how I view Aonuma for the worse. But this was when he was goated.
The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, your Link, and the world is waiting on you.
Reserve your copy now at Toys R Us with a $10 deposit, and you'll be guaranteed to get a collector's edition gold cartridge with this unique 3D label.
I think all the carts were gold. I'd have to double check my cart. Pretty sure that I don't have any kind of limited edition, but also this is American, whereas we would have had slightly different stuff.
If you reserve your copy prior to October 25th, you'll also get $10 off this Toys R Us exclusive gold controller, regularly priced at $29.99, now just $19.99
Nice.
with this offer.
Yeah, so that was Majora's Mask. So it isn't just a promotional thing. I went back and pulled up Terrible Fate, the Majora's Mask short film that I believe was part of Operation Moonfall, an attempt to get a 3DS remaster of Majora. What a mistake that was. So let's get started.
Here, at the end of things, I can still feel its power.
Is that the inverted Song of Healing? I mean, it sounded like the Song of Healing. It was the Song of Healing. But it sounded less like da 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 da, and more like vroom, 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 vroom. If you kind of get where I'm coming from with that.
When I found it, I could sense the doom of a dark omen brewing.
It's very Pixar-y. It's not a complaint. The art style of the Ocarina of Time concept art was designed to look very Pixar-y.
And now, that imp has it.
I love Soraya's song. It's so good. It is so good. Da, 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 da. Oh, here he comes. Okay, now it's proper something. I like the implication that Majora's corrupting him as well. I do like that implication in this video. We don't... I'm in two minds about the way that Majora presents the mask salesman, because on one hand, the extremely withdrawn use of him in the game, it's helpful. Like, it presents him as a very enigmatic figure, a very... You get the idea that he could be dangerous if he chose to be. And you just have to be thankful that he's not choosing to be. Anyway, we'll carry on. I do think, though, that seeing how Majora influenced him would be helpful. I mean, you kind of get it when he mentions that Majora's lost its power. You get the sense that he's a bit disappointed. What he was using Majora for, who knows? I'd like to think that it's the way that he travels between dimensions, and that he got stuck in Termina with Link because of Majora. But who knows? The only thing with that is that School Kid was very transparently from the Lost Woods, and very transparently the same School Kid you taught Soraya's song to in Ocarina of Time. But he got to Termina without any outside help, clearly. So maybe it was that tree stump. Maybe. The visuals here are gorgeous.
I should have heeded the ancient's warning.
Why is he laughing? Jesus.
Nothing can withstand its power.
Wait. Was this the same people? Ember Lab? Hang on. I'm gonna just quickly... Ember Labs. Yeah, they're the people that did Kena. Fucking hell. I didn't know that. They felt creating a video game was the natural next step. Jesus. And apparently several publishers were familiar with Terrible Fate. I do remember when this was everywhere back in, like, whatever year that this released. 2016. Wait. Oh, this was after Moonfall. Yeah. Operation Moonfall's a bit of a weird one. Let me pull up a thing on it. Time campaign, blah 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 blah. Blah blah blah. There is actually something here. Hang on a moment. I thought that there was a video for it. The only video I can find though is... Give me a moment. Just want to check the comments. Like I say, I do remember when this was new. Holy fucking shit. It's almost 9 years old. Like, it would have been made 9 years ago, 16 days from now. Interesting. And obviously you've got all kinds of... Without being funny, this video did 15 million views. It was stupid popular back in 2016. Let's pull up this then.
Hello there.
Hang on. You just heard it.
Hello there and welcome to New Hyrule. My name's Cody, I'm the webmaster of Zelda Universe, and this is my co-host, the Great Deku Tree, currently in...
We're not doing this entire video, I'm sorry, I'm just not doing it. Yeah, this was the only video there. Allegedly, it was supposed to act as a promotional video. This video was 112,000. Yeah. So, next up, we have got an Ocarina of Time promotional VHS. Ooh. This will be fun. Legend. Honestly, I give quite a lot to have grown up in the 90s and witnessed this game when I was, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8 years old. Brilliant game though. It still blew my mind. So this is a German promotional tape. To be fair, Germany had all sorts to celebrate the launch of Ocarina. They loved this fucking game. Don't blame them. They had that really good comic, that really good prequel comic about Link's father and the Hyrulean Civil War. So it's saying Navi in things. So this is the version before final, I want to say. Doesn't say the year on the video title. For the record, I can recognise German, but I can't read it most of the time. Some words I can because they look identical. Well, they look similar. But most of the time I'm no good with German. I don't know why I started whistling that. Okay, now we've got Japanese footage. Like, well, it's all going to be Japanese footage. But, I don't know. Let me just... Yeah, it is the room it was in the end game. Like, in the final game. Alright, Naburo. it just me or is the font on the numbers a bit weird? A bit clean, almost. Ba 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 bum. Alright, opponent. Link Weird Altar. No, completely oblivious. Link the... Okay, no, I can't. I can't read German. I just can't. I'm trying to use context clues. It's clearly something about the horse riding. Fähigkeiten. What? Okay, that number font is definitely different. I'm not being gaslit. Use your Deku nuts. Also, you can tell it's the it's not been. You can tell it's not the final version because 1 at 50, the bombs aren't green. Because also you can have 50 bombs and yeah, you can, because you can have 50 bomb shoes in rando. Yeah, you can have 50 bombs, but you can't have 99 arrows at any given point. I mean, I'm not convinced that was actually the amount that you could hold, and that it was instead some kind of debug feature. Like back Garuda training grounds. This room was changed. Okay, it's kind of cheating to say 3D landscapes when there is literally pre-rendered backgrounds on screen at the moment. Rauru. Soraya. Why did I just show footage of like the end of the game? Ravagia. I'm gonna once again use the wrong way of beating him because it's a weird thing with promo. They always use Deku nuts, and it's really weird. No, you're actually using your slingshot. Debug. He shot that and there was no ammo taken. Right. To be fair, it's not a surprise. Of course they're using a debug ROM for promo material. Kokiri sword icon is slightly different, as you can see. If I had to hazard a guess, because I'm pretty sure this game was... It was either October or November 1998. If I had to hazard a guess, I'd say game went gold around July. meaning that they didn't add anything else after. And this build itself was probably January, February time. But that's not a professional opinion, that's me just guessing based on the release date. And the fact that they still haven't finalised a couple of elements. Like dungeon layouts and stuff. Although, important to note that a lot of the stuff that wasn't originally finalised, like, that wasn't finalised for a while, already had been. I mean, just look at this for example. The fight against Goma, same room, same everything. The stealth boss fight in the Gerudo training grounds. Assuming that I'm not forgetting a room of the Gerudo training grounds, which is possible, but I don't think there are two near identical challenges. With the rocks, they're yeah. Ein Traum with wahr. With wahr? With wahr? I'm being a twat, ignore me. Das Fluten Duten. That's not even real German, but oh well. This is about as real German as Popty Ping is real Welsh. Even in Ocarina of Time, in Aura Farms. Right, so that was the Ocarina of Time promo VHS tape. Not bad. If I were a young German lad getting this in the post for my Club Nintendo subscription or whatever, I'd like it. I want to buy this game, but I'm biased because I always want to buy this game now and forever. So, oops. Right. This I'm not convinced will be any different to the previous one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's the same one as we started with. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed those videos. And now, as a little bonus treat, I'd like to talk for a moment about my opening impressions on the shit show that is Age of Imprisonment. Okay, shit show's a bit of a stretch. It isn't perfect. It isn't even great. It's good. It's good. It's fine. I don't mind it. But here's the thing about the Wild era. It had already run its course by the time Tears of the Kingdom came out. Because they refused to release a proper prequel to Breath of the Wild, instead doing that fanfiction bullshit they did instead. I'm still mad at them for that. I have every right to still be mad at them for that. They falsely advertised Age of Calamity. They were cowards, and they should be called out as such. They were fucking cowardly doing that the way they did it. The game should have been what actually happened 100 years before Breath of the Wild. It should have included the deaths of the champions. It should have been basically straight prequel, no shenanigans. And how are we looking? Sorry, just double checking the score for the Villa game. So, yeah. Age of Imprisonment. The problem is, the backstory to Tears of the Kingdom, with the time that Zelda gets transported back to being Hyrule's founding, isn't a very compelling time period. It's literally just a worse version of Ocarina of Time. I don't really see why we needed to explore it further. Or rather, let me correct myself. I don't see why we needed a spin-off to do that. Instead, they should have told a proper story in Tears of the Kingdom. And this is why I'm sick of the Wild era. Because they've done nothing but cause problems throughout that. For some unknown reason, Tears of the Kingdom told the same fucking story 4 times. The cutscenes after the dungeons were extraordinarily stupid. Because they couldn't risk someone watching the story out of order, so they just needed to make sure that wasn't in order to watch it. Yeah, so not a fan of this era. Not a fan of Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, I am a fan of Tears of the Kingdom. It's weird. I enjoyed it a lot of the time, but it was fucking stupid. Its story was the worst in the franchise. Aside from Age of Calamity, which was just pathetic. But no, gameplay-wise, it's added a little bit of new stuff, but honestly, it's not really different enough to Age of Calamity. And I don't usually buy into that bullshit. The problem is these aren't especially deep games. You can get bored very quickly. So, yeah. For some reason they've got a mechanical character that looks and plays exactly like Link. There was a theory going around that Minoru had built this thing based on Zelda's description of Link, except there's no way how that happened, because he's actually the Korok's companion. By the way, why are there Koroks in this game? Why? You couldn't have just thrown real Zelda fans a bone and put the Kokiri in it? Come on. I just hate the Koroks, and I always have done. I didn't find Makar particularly compelling in Wind Waker. And to be honest, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom make me want to burn Koroks at the stake. So, yeah. But no, I'm not overly into that. Story-wise, I thought they were going to take a similar cowardly route and undo Sonia's death. The only death in the story, as far as I'm aware. Rauru doesn't count. Literally, his spirit lives on. He lost fuck all by doing what he did. Same goes for Zelda swallowing her secret stone. See, I can't talk about Tears of the Kingdom and its story, or any of the traits surrounding its story that made it into this game, without seriously rolling my eyes at how stupid the entire thing is. I don't really like anything about this so far. Not particularly. Like, the game's fine, but God, I'm so ready to leave this era of Zelda behind and burn it. I don't like the fans it's brought in either. Literally, it's just endless conversations about shipping. That's going to be annoying. And it's the one thing I'm still nervous about with the movie. More mainstream fans. Because the last thing we needed was stans in the first place, and the last thing we need now is more of them. Say what you like, I don't like them. I never have. But no, we're not going to worry about that too much. I enjoy bits of this, and I must admit, as much as Rauru as a concept, or Fauru as I call him, F-A-U-X, Ru, as in fake. Much as I hate him as a concept, it's fun to play as. Pretty strong as well. I just don't like Zonai. I'm fine with an indigenous population of Hyrule that disappeared by the time that Hylians arrived. I don't like that Hyrule Castle was his. The thing is, Hyrule's founding should have just overtly been Skyward Sword's ending. But Nintendo have decided in recent years they don't like the timeline. So Aonuma has done everything in his power, against all common sense, to make it a fucking mess with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. But again, it's a different argument. If we're taking it on its own merits rather than as part of a whole canon, which I think we should take it as a whole canon, because that is... canon is extremely important. Like, extremely important. You know, continuity is vital and should always be considered. You know, this isn't like Mario where there is no story. Zelda games, no matter how much people have tried to retcon that fact in recent years, have always been about their stories. The only games where that wasn't true was the NES. Yeah, it was a little light in Link to the Past 2, but you were still telling a pretty basic story. You know, a pretty solid story that everything you're doing is centered around. But I've complained quite a bit, and I think that my complaint's going to be pretty controversial. I'm hoping that I'm going to like this more and more. I'm liking that we've headed into an all-out war. I must say, Ganondorf's Ocarina of Time plan, which I'm still a little bit pissed off they did that. But the whole swearing fealty to the King of Hyrule, blah 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 blah, that I like. But that was part of the original Tears of the Kingdom story as well. I think it should have lasted a little longer in this game, rather than what they did, which was pretty much immediately have Ganondorf betray the King of Hyrule. Like, yeah, we all know it's going to happen, but you could let me play as Ganondorf to get a feel for how strong he is. Just saying. Just saying. Anyways, I'm going to go back to playing that now. 2-0 in the Europa League. Thank you, Villa. That aside was not necessary. But well. So if you've enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment. Probably a couple more Zelda Month videos coming at least. I'm still a little bit peeved that I misplaced my Elgato. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. We'll be fine. But yeah, thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.